Hello, everybody. I think it has been relatively clear from my last few videos that I'm rather fed up with the Harkles, and both of them equally. Let me say right off the bat that I do not have an ounce of sympathy for Henry. Yes, I know there are lots of talk about him being a victim of Meghan Markle's narcissism and manipulation. And yes, I am one of the many who recognize her narcissistic behavior. But I would like 10 minutes of your time to tell you about what I have recently learned. We tend to think that a narcissist will never date or marry another narcissist. It just doesn't make sense, does it? But it is not true. We have all seen or maybe even known a narcissistic couple. You know, they are those power couples we see on television, or one of those power couples that we may even know. Narcissism is a personality disorder. It is very real and a genuine problem. It is also untreatable. Narcissists are self-absorbed and have grandiose ideas and visions of themselves. Some narcissists will have antisocial behavioral patterns, but others will be more manipulative. And herein lies the poo that starts to mix well when put in a tumble dryer. And the saying, like attracts like, comes into play, and research had actually shown that narcissists are more tolerant of each other. Very surprising, but also true. Although two narcissist relationships tend to be more volatile, it does not mean that they will split up or divorce. Now, it is my opinion that Henry has his own narcissistic traits. Yes, I believe Meghan had been whispering things in Henry's ear. Yes, I believe she manipulated him to an extent. But, my friends, dear Henry must have been susceptible to that. Henry himself was a spoiled child, and everyone overcompensated because of the loss of his mother, and therefore he was protected, his bad behavior covered up, and his jealousy rewarded, because nobody wanted poor Henry to feel left out or less than his brother who will one day be king. Now, that is just like what happened to Meghan. Meghan, whose father also overcompensated to make up for her mother's lack of interest and hence protected her, covered up her bad behavior, and made excuses for her jealousy. So, it is my opinion that Henry and his wife are cut from the same cloth. And come on, people, both of them had threatened suicide. A very typical narc move. And although it is common for narcs to threaten suicide and not impossible for them to even try, they are seldom serious about it, and it is usually just a manipulation tactic. Okay, so there is that. Narcissists may abuse alcohol and drugs because they believe they are superior and that they can handle it better than anyone else. They also believe that the repercussions of bad behavior will be less or even non-existent for them because of their infinite wisdom and importance. When we look at Henry and his wife, we know that both of them used and abused alcohol and drugs. Are the similarities becoming clearer yet? Why are we thus blaming Meghan for everything. People are saying that by shifting blame from Meghan to Harry, we are playing right into her hands. And that is not what I'm doing here. What I am doing is to prove to you that they are equally culpable. So let us look at the possible surrogacy theory, seeing that that is what is in the news right now. There is no way Meghan could have or would have started such a process alone. To ensure her financial future, she had to ensure that the children had Henry's DNA. And for that, Henry had to be involved from day one. Had she faked a pregnancy? Henry must have known. They lived together, they travelled together. There is no way he could not have known. It is thus safe to assume that Henry was in on it all the way, and every time Meghan lied, so did Henry. But now let us talk about the surrogacy. I find it very interesting that Lady C is now more and more entertaining the thought of a surrogacy. In her last video, she looked at the language of the announcement and the congratulations from the palace. She highlights the fact that the palace's announcement states born for instead of born to. And I agree with her that it's highly unlikely that the palace would make such a mistake. On Instagram, Clarence House, which is Prince Charles and Camilla, states they wish them well on the arrival, not on or with the birth of the child, no, on the arrival. Now I'm asking you, isn't that even worse than born for? Okay, regardless of the mistakes the palace made, regardless of the many mistakes the Harkles have made, there are still people around who will accuse us, who are believers in the surrogacy, that we are being delusional. But just as a matter of interest, I watched Yankee Wally's video yesterday, and I'm very impressed with Meghan, the Duchy of Pitstain's power of observation. Now that I have seen it, I cannot unsee it. And at closer inspection, I have to agree with them that the photograph put out with the announcement on the 14th of February and the one released on the 8th of March for International Women's Day were indeed both taken on the same day. As a matter of fact, I took the photographs and I compared them myself. The only difference being that Meghan had changed her clothes and changed into a bigger bump. So not alone is that proof that there were some fakery going on, but as dear old Henry was part of that photo shoot, it is also proof that he is part and parcel of the fakery. But now consider this. If that phrase, born for, in the palace's congratulations, was not a mistake, then it would mean that the royal family knows the truth as well. So, who are the fools here? My dear friends, we are. Consider the fact that those children are in the line of succession. Wow, we are huge fools, allowing the lies and deception to wash over us like a wave on a warm day. And now the circus has returned to town, and an almighty row is brewing between the royal family, the BBC, and the Harkles. And old bootstrap Henry is threatening to sue the BBC for saying that they did not consult the Queen before naming the baby Lilibet. But this time there's a twist. You see, a palace spokesperson actually said that the Queen was not consulted, and the BBC put out the story based on that. So what is the royal family going to do now? Tell the truth? Past experience tells me they won't. Will they say that the spokesperson lied and give him or her a severance package, one large enough to keep him or her quiet? I guess very likely. Do you think there is a possibility the Queen will protect her staff? From what I heard, Henry did mention to his grandma that they wished to name the child after her, and she did give her blessing. But she assumed, like we all would have done, that Henry and his wife would include the name Elizabeth somewhere in the child's names. But instead, she was blindsided when they named the child Lilibet. So, in fact, both sides are telling the truth. So what will Henry be suing the BBC for? I'm asking you. Okay, before I go, regardless of what everyone is saying, I still firmly believe that the child was born of a surrogate. I also believe that the real child was born early in May. I also believe that the 20 weeks family time has everything to do with sorting out issues with the surrogate, and also the reason why we are being told that we will have to wait a while for photographs. Yes, my dear friends, until it is somehow proven to me that either one of those babies popped out of Megsy's drive-through, I shall continue to believe what I have seen in photographic evidence, and I shall continue to believe what I was told by others who had been delving deeper, others who had some form of interaction with a couple. Yes, it is sometimes difficult to figure out what is real and what is fantasy, but if an ex-friend of the Megsy tells me that something happened to her in 2013 which made it difficult to conceive or carry a baby, why should I doubt it? I did not ask for the information and could verify the person's identity. So what more can I do? I can just judge people from what I know about them. Is the ex-friend a known liar? No, not as far as I can see. Is Meghan Markle a known liar? Yes, yes, and yes. As a matter of fact, she even told us so herself. She said she is a fraud, ha 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 ha. So now tell me again why I should not believe the ex-friend. So do you guys understand where I find myself at? What the position is that I find myself in? I get information, I have to try and distinguish between fantasy and fact, and the only way I can do that is by judging the people who actually tell me these stories. So that is just giving you some insight into what I have to deal with. But anyway, let's finish up this video. So finally, I was asked the other day why I am so hell-bent on proving the children's origins. Well, it is actually quite simple. Firstly, because I can't stand lying or liars. And secondly, I do not believe that anything will change until Harry and Meghan are thoroughly exposed and embarrassed. The royal family or monarchy may have been able to assist with covering up bullying allegations and other things, but there is no way they can cover up hard evidence of the biggest lie ever told by two people. And that hard evidence is out there. Some of it, only a drop in the ocean, I must admit, had been uncovered. And I'm sure, very sure, that the doozy, the final blow, will be exposed sooner or later. We have warned the royal family. We even warned Harry and Meghan. But it was their choice to ignore us and their choice not to answer allegations. And it was Harry and Meghan's choice to continue lying. And it is my choice to continue to unravel the mystery and bring the truth to the people. And today, I'm actually pleading with the people who are clinging onto the pieces of evidence to be brave and stand up and speak up. And not for the sake of the royal family, but for the sake of all of us who had been made fools of. Okay, my dear friends, so that is it from me for today. I just quickly want to thank everybody for their support, their comments under the videos. Unfortunately, we are currently having minimum 2 load shedding or planned power outages per day. So it's very difficult for me to make videos and get to all the comments. But I'm wading through them all and I'm trying my best. And it will soon get better, we hope. Anyway, my dear friends, hang in there, take good care of yourselves, and until I see you on the next video, bye!